Before this goes any further, hear this clearly. Someone around you is no longer thinking in half feelings or temporary attraction. What started as interest has turned into something much more serious, much more personal, and much more life-changing than they ever planned for. They are not just wondering what it would be like to spend a little more time with you. They are thinking bigger now. They are thinking about waking up beside you, building a real life with you, protecting your peace, sharing your burdens, and giving you the kind of love that does not disappear when things get hard. And the reason this matters is because they did not expect to feel this way. They tried to stay calm. They tried to stay normal. They tried to treat this like a passing emotion. But your presence kept reaching deeper. If you have been sensing strange tension, stronger eye contact, a softer energy, or a feeling that someone is holding back words they really want to say, trust that, because this is not random. Stay with me, because what they feel is growing fast, and by the end of this, you may understand why their silence has become heavier than their fear. And if this message finds you at the exact right time, then what is about to unfold could explain everything you have been feeling without words. Do you ever get the feeling that something important is missing, even when life looks normal from the outside? Maybe love disappointed you too many times. Maybe you grew tired of attention that felt exciting at first but never became stable, safe, or real. Maybe part of you stopped expecting anyone to truly choose you in a deep and lasting way. But right now, someone is carrying feelings for you that go far beyond a simple crush. This is not surface interest. This is not casual curiosity. This is emotional seriousness growing in silence. This person has been thinking about you in ways they did not expect. They have been feeling pulled toward you, remembering small things about you, and imagining a future that somehow keeps placing you in it. That matters. Because when a person starts including you in the private world of their long-term thoughts, everything changes. They begin seeing you differently. They notice your heart. They notice your kindness after pain. They notice how you keep going even when life feels heavy. They notice your softness, your strength, your way of making people feel calm without trying too hard. And slowly, your energy has become something they connect with peace. Not drama, not confusion. Peace. That is rare. And when someone finds that kind of emotional comfort in another person, the bond can grow much deeper than either person expected. So keep listening, because this did not happen overnight, and it is still building. At first, they may not have fully understood what was happening. It likely began in small moments, a conversation that stayed in their mind longer than it should have, a look from you that felt warmer than usual, a quiet exchange that left them thinking about you for hours afterward. This is how deep connection often begins, not loudly, not dramatically. It grows in simple moments that carry more feeling than they seem to on the surface. The human heart becomes attached through repetition, emotional warmth, and the feeling of being safe enough to be real. Somewhere in that slow process, you became emotionally important to them. Your presence began to calm something inside them. Your words carried weight. Your silence carried weight too. Even ordinary moments with you started feeling different, almost charged, almost meaningful in a way they could not explain. And that is when the shift started. You stopped feeling temporary to them. You stopped feeling like just another person in their life. You became someone they looked forward to, someone they mentally returned to, someone whose energy stayed with them after the moment ended. If you have ever wondered whether someone is quietly becoming attached to you without saying it, this is often how it looks. It looks like attention getting deeper. It looks like them remembering details you forgot you shared. It looks like them becoming more careful, more thoughtful, more emotionally present when you are near. And yes, it can also look like hesitation, because once the feeling becomes real, fear rises too. This person may already be in your life in a familiar way. Maybe they have known you for a while but never found the courage to show how serious their feelings became. Maybe they stayed quiet because they feared losing the connection they already had with you. Maybe they worried you would not feel the same. Or maybe this is someone whose energy feels strangely natural, as if your souls recognized each other before your minds caught up. Either way, the truth inside them is becoming harder to ignore. You no longer feel like a passing chapter. You feel like someone they could build with, and that kind of realization changes people from the inside out. Suddenly, they do not just imagine romantic moments. They imagine normal life with you, peaceful mornings, honest talks after long days, supporting each other through stress, healing, setbacks, growth. They imagine staying, not drifting. They imagine loyalty, not guessing. They imagine a bond where both people feel safe, chosen, and emotionally at home. Stay with me here, because this is where it gets deeper. They are not only drawn to your beauty or your energy, they are drawn to the way you make them feel emotionally settled. In a world where many connections feel loud, unstable, and draining, you feel steady, you feel healing, you feel like rest after too much noise. And for someone who has known emotional confusion, that kind of peace can feel almost sacred. That is one reason their heart has grown so serious without them fully planning it. You may have spent a long time thinking real commitment keeps missing you. You may have become tired of almost love, mixed signals, and temporary people who only wanted your light without offering real presence in return. Over time, that kind of disappointment can make anyone guarded. It can make you careful, skeptical, slower to trust. But this person is not moving toward you for entertainment. They are not looking for a short thrill or an easy distraction. They are looking for belonging. They are looking for a connection that feels safe enough to stay in. And without fully admitting it at first, they started connecting that feeling with you. That is why certain moments between you may feel heavier than they seem. A glance holds too long. A pause says more than words. A simple message shifts the whole mood of their day. This is what happens when emotional meaning starts growing beneath the surface. Their body language changes. Their focus sharpens. Their memory of you becomes stronger. Even small things about you begin to matter more than they should if this were casual. And it is not casual anymore. The more they tried to reduce it, the more real it became. The more they told themselves to stay calm, the more their heart organized itself around your presence. If this resonates, do not rush past it. This kind of emotional pull does not grow because someone forced it. It grows because something about the connection feels deeply right. And that is exactly why they are struggling now. Because once you matter this much, the risk of losing you begins to feel very real. For a long time, they likely believed they could control these feelings. They probably told themselves it was only interest, only chemistry, only a passing emotional phase. They tried to stay sensible. They tried to keep distance where needed. They tried to avoid becoming too vulnerable, but instead of fading, the feelings kept getting stronger. That is what surprised them most. Your messages started affecting their mood. Your attention affected their peace. Your silence affected their inner balance in ways they could no longer dismiss. That kind of influence can scare a person, especially if they have been hurt before. People who have known disappointment often become careful with their hearts. They learn how to hold back. They learn how to reveal little, protect more, and stay emotionally guarded just enough to avoid deep pain. But then someone comes along and quietly breaks through all of that. Not by force, not by drama, just by being real. And that is what you did. You made them feel things they thought they had buried or outgrown. Hope, calm, desire for something lasting, a wish to build instead of merely enjoy. And that can be terrifying when someone realizes just how much emotional power another person has started to hold. So if their energy has seemed close one day and distant the next, if they have felt warm and careful at the same time, understand this. It may not be because they feel less. It may be because they feel too much. Sometimes people step back not when they stop caring, but when they realize how deeply they already care. That inner conflict has been exhausting them. Part of them wants to move toward you fully. Another part still fears what happens if this becomes real and then breaks apart. Because once a person begins imagining permanence, loss starts to feel more dangerous too. That is why they notice you so quickly in crowded places. That is why little things you say stay in their mind for days. That is why your smile, your voice, even your quietness can affect them more than they admit. When someone becomes emotionally important, the smallest details begin to carry unusual weight. A joke matters. A delayed reply matters. A moment of warmth matters. And lately, the more they try to ignore it, the more impossible it becomes. They have replayed conversations with you. They have laid awake thinking about what your connection means. They have tried distracting themselves, only to find their mind returning to you anyway. And now the pressure between what they feel and what they show is getting harder to carry. This is the point where silence starts becoming painful. This is the point where pretending stops working. If you have sensed that they are watching your reactions more carefully, reading your energy more closely, or looking for signs that you might feel something too, you are probably right. They are searching for emotional safety before they risk honesty. They want reassurance before they take the step they know could change everything. And recently, something may have given them hope. A moment, a look, a softness in your energy. Something that made them begin to wonder whether this feeling is not one-sided after all. That small shift gave their heart room to believe. And when hope enters where fear used to rule, everything begins to change. It may not have looked dramatic from the outside. No big speech, no perfect scene. Just one moment that stayed with them. Maybe it was the way you looked at them during a quiet conversation. Maybe it was the calm you brought into a difficult day. Maybe it was the fact that silence with you felt natural instead of awkward. Whatever it was, something inside them moved. After that, they began asking a question that would not leave them alone. What if this is real? What if this connection is not temporary, not imagined, not just emotional timing, but something genuinely meaningful? That question changed the emotional balance completely. Because once a person begins to believe their feelings may be returned, the walls they built start weakening from the inside. Now they catch themselves imagining future moments with you, places they want to take you to, conversations they want to have, the kind of routines they could build beside you. Even deeper than that, they are beginning to imagine commitment. Not just closeness, commitment. They are beginning to think about what it would mean to truly choose one person, to stand beside one person, to build a life that does not keep searching because it has finally found peace. And that future keeps bringing them back to you. Do not leave yet, because this is where the story turns. They are no longer only wondering whether they care. They are wondering whether they are ready to admit how much. They have had moments where the truth was almost on their lips, moments where they wanted to say more, reveal more, risk more. But the deeper the feeling grows, the more serious honesty becomes, because now there is something real to lose. This is no longer a playful idea. This is a heart-level decision. They know that if they confess what they feel, life changes after that. The comfort of silence disappears. The risk becomes real. Rejection becomes possible. But so does love. And that possibility is what has been keeping them awake. They have imagined you with someone else. They have imagined losing the chance to build something with you because they waited too long. That thought unsettled them more than they expected. In fact, it may have been the moment they finally understood how deep this runs. People often discover the truth of their feelings when the thought of losing someone becomes unbearable. And that is what is happening here. They are no longer asking whether you matter. They are asking whether they can afford to stay silent much longer. The answer is starting to become no. Because you changed them. You made them think differently about love. You made them crave depth over excitement, peace over games, trust over uncertainty. And those kinds of shifts do not happen in shallow connections. They happen when the heart knows it is standing near something rare, something that could actually last. That is why their whole energy may feel different now, more serious, more reflective, more emotionally present than before. They are not drifting anymore. They are deciding. And the decision forming inside them is deeper than you might realize. This is not only about attraction. It is about partnership. It is about what kind of life feels right beside another person. They are starting to see that with you, love does not feel like pressure or performance. It feels like relief. It feels like truth. It feels like a place where they could finally stop running in circles. That is powerful, because many people spend years chasing what excites them and overlook what actually heals them. But now they are seeing the difference. They are seeing that you do not just stir emotion in them, you steady it. You do not just make them feel wanted, you make them want to become better, calmer, more open, more honest. That is why this feels serious enough to carry thoughts of marriage, of home, of lasting commitment. They are imagining what it would mean to take your hand and mean it fully. To choose you not for a season, not for convenience, but for life. That idea once scared them. Now it is starting to feel right. Still, one last fear remains. They fear that you may not feel the same way. They fear timing. They fear that they may have hidden too much for too long, so they keep watching. They keep listening. They keep gathering courage. And if you have felt the air changing between you, if you have felt unspoken emotion growing heavier lately, that is likely because their heart is getting closer and closer to a point where it can no longer stay hidden behind careful behavior and quiet longing. There was likely a moment recently when everything became painfully clear to them, not in public, not during some dramatic exchange, alone, in silence. That is often when the strongest truth arrives. They were probably trying to move through life normally, doing what they always do, speaking, working, laughing, acting fine, while something inside kept returning to you again and again. And then it hit them. You are no longer optional in their emotional world. You have become deeply important, not just because they are drawn to you, but because of how they feel when connected to you, grounded, understood, calmer, more themselves. Once the mind connects another person with that kind of emotional safety, the bond can become very strong. And now they are seeing that clearly. There have been nights where they replayed every significant moment between you, every pause, every shift in tone, every unfinished sentence, every time they felt your energy soften around them. And somewhere in that replay, they had to admit something they had been avoiding. This is love growing quietly, real love. The kind that does not need noise to become powerful. The kind that keeps returning, keeps deepening, keeps asking for honesty. And the more they compare every other connection to this one, the more certain they become. Nothing else feels the same. Nothing else brings the same emotional peace. Nothing else creates the same wish for a future that feels stable, gentle, and true. That realization is changing them. It is pushing them out of old patterns. It is making them see that protecting themselves at all costs may cause them to lose the very thing their heart has been searching for. Now they are starting to understand something life-changing. Emotional protection is not always safety. Sometimes it is the very wall that keeps real love out. And once a person sees that clearly, they begin craving truth more than control. That is where they are heading. You may notice their attention becoming more direct, their words carrying more weight, their pauses feeling fuller, almost like they are standing on the edge of telling you something important. Because they are moving closer to honesty. They are moving closer to a point where hiding how much you matter feels harder than risking the truth. And this is the part you need to hear carefully. If they do come forward, it will not just be because they want romance. It will be because they see you as someone they could truly build a life with. Someone whose peace they want to protect, someone whose heart they do not want to mishandle, someone they could picture loving in ordinary life, not only in perfect moments. That matters more than grand words. It means they are thinking long-term. It means they are measuring this connection against real life, not fantasy. And in that quiet test, you keep rising. You keep feeling right. So if lately you have felt stronger emotional tension, heavier silence, more meaningful eye contact, or a sense that a confession is gathering behind ordinary moments, do not dismiss it. The truth inside them is getting stronger, their resistance is getting weaker, and very soon, silence may stop being an option they can live with. Something inside them has already begun to change for good. They used to believe silence was safer than vulnerability, safer than emotional risk, safer than letting you know how deeply your presence has changed them. But silence no longer feels safe. Now it feels heavy. Now it feels like self-betrayal. Every day they continue pretending, the pressure grows. They have tried logic. They have tried distance. They have tried acting unaffected. None of it has worked. Your importance in their life keeps rising anyway. They think about how your day is going. They wonder what you are feeling. They wonder whether you sense the same current moving between you. And part of them believes you do, because true emotional connection leaves traces. It changes the atmosphere between two people. It sharpens awareness. It deepens small moments. It makes even stillness feel alive. Lately, hope has started becoming stronger than fear. And once hope reaches that point, people begin moving toward honesty naturally. They start imagining the relief of finally speaking, the peace of no longer carrying love in silence, the possibility that truth might open a door instead of closing one. That is the place they are nearing now. Yes, fear still exists. Fear that they waited too long. Fear that your heart may already be moving elsewhere. Fear that one honest conversation could change everything forever. But there is something stronger rising underneath all of that. The desire to stop hiding. The desire to stop pretending you are just another person when you have already become part of their vision of home, future, stability, and lasting love. So here is the truth this whole journey has been building toward. The feelings they carry for you are no longer small enough to stay hidden. You have become the person who changed how they see love. You have shown them that peace can feel stronger than chaos. That connection can feel safe instead of draining, that real closeness can make a person want to grow instead of run. That kind of impact does not fade easily, it changes the heart. And now the heart wants what the mind can no longer deny. It wants honesty, It wants a chance. It wants the possibility of something lasting, something clean, something real. If this connection keeps unfolding the way it has been, then a deeper talk may come sooner than you think. A message with more feeling than usual. A confession hidden inside simple words. A truth they can no longer keep folded away. And if that moment comes, you will likely feel it before they even say everything fully, because the energy has been building for a long time. This was never just attraction. This was never just timing. This was the slow forming of emotional trust, deep attachment, and the kind of hope that makes a person imagine marriage, commitment, and a life shared in truth. So breathe, stay open, but stay wise. Let actions matter, let honesty prove itself, and remember this above all else. The love growing inside them is not light, not random, and not something they will be able to hide forever. Very soon, what has been living quietly in their heart may finally come into the light.